All right, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Daniel the Adjuster coming to you with another tip, helpful tips for you to be an adjuster. I'm going to talk about 3 adjuster steps for success. Hey, you always have wanted to be an adjuster, someone who can make over $100,000 a year, someone who wants to make their own schedule, someone who wants to be independent, self-employed, someone who makes their own hours, can decide how much they want to work, how much they don't want to work. Take that vacation when you want. Don't have a boss. All of these are fantastic ideas and things that you want to do in order to be an adjuster. So stick around. I'm going to talk to you about how to be a successful adjuster. We'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around. We're going to get right to it, guys. Number 1, you've got to get licensed. You cannot be an adjuster unless you are licensed, first in your home state, and secondly, in every other state that you want to work. Now, some of the states do not require a license, so you definitely want to check on that. You can go to a website called NIPR.com. And it is the National Insurance Production or Producers License Registry, something like that. It's NIPR.com. And it will give you all the information about what states are required for you to be licensed and what states are not. But first and foremost, I would get licensed in your home state, where you live. You cannot practice license in your home state without first being licensed in your home state. Secondly, you want to be licensed in other states that you plan to work in. My recommendation is for the coastal states that typically have hurricane damage or hurricane events. First of all, start with Texas. Great license to help you get through a lot of the other licenses and their licensing requirements. The next is Louisiana. The next, Mississippi. The next, right beside it, Alabama. And then there's Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. And guess what? Virginia is still an opportunity for hurricane events, but that's a free license, and that you don't need a license to operate claims in that state. Other states, I guess you could pursue, depending on if you plan on going to some cold weather events, Minnesota, Michigan. These are all great states. Illinois, Indiana. These are states, I don't think Illinois has one, but Indiana definitely has one. A great state for wind. Oklahoma, if you wanted to work tornadoes. And if you want to, you could get some of the western states, but typically there's not a whole lot of events that occur out there. California would not be a licensing state that you can obtain. You actually have to live there for a couple of years before you can get that license. Number 2, you've got to get trained. Now, there are several areas that you'll have to get trained in, so pay attention. First and foremost, you'll need to get licensed to use the software called Xactimate. Xactimate is the software, the standardized software for all insurance claims, typically used by 95% of all insurance companies. Xactimate is owned by a company called Xactware, and you can find their website at xactware.com. They have a certification class that is renowned for knowing this program. And if you obtain level 1 and level 2 certification, you will be hired by most adjusting firms as a knowledgeable person of this software. Otherwise, they have no idea that you know the software. They're not going to hire you because they assume that you don't know how to use the software. So definitely get 1 and 2 certification, and only through Xactware.com is that license given. Now, if you're like me who grew up climbing roofs my whole life, I'm not afraid of climbing roofs, but hey, maybe you're not that person. The next important training is going to be learning how to climb roofs. Steep and tall training is a great factor in helping you learn how to climb those difficult roofs, use safety ropes and harnesses, and to feel confident on a roof that you may not otherwise be confident on. You also want to study ladder safety, and you can get all that information online anywhere on a YouTube video on how to use a ladder safely. Those are critical parts to learning how to climb roofs. Number 3, you definitely want to learn the parts of a home. How in the world can you estimate damages if you don't even know what the parts of a home are? And that goes from everything on the outside as well as everything on the inside and behind walls. You can get a lot of that training just by watching home remodeling videos or look at images on how a house is built and get familiar with those names. When you write those estimates, you will be remembering those names and putting those listed in your estimate for repair estimates. So you definitely want to be very familiar with the home parts of a house. Another great way to get trained is to study and read other people's comments. Adjuster comments. There's a blog out there, catadjuster.org, is a great opportunity for you to read other people's posts. There's some Reddit posts, great ways for you to learn about adjusters and about the talk and about things that they talk about. The more that you read and understand these items, I think you'll become more familiar with the conversation, more familiar with the content, and you will definitely become a better person as an adjuster. Now, there's plenty of online courses. You can spend a lot of money taking these adjuster courses. Just be really careful to not spend too much, because there's relatively almost everything that you could possibly want to know on people's YouTube videos. You can check out mine. I'm walking through the whole process on how to be an adjuster. That training is free. I'm not charging for that training. There's a lot of other people that have created content that you don't have to buy as well, and that's the information you need. So why pay somebody for it when you can get it pretty much online for free? And the last and most important thing is read. Everything to do with adjusting. Make sure you check out online. Read what an adjuster is, the different types of adjusting that you can do. There are endless possibilities for the type of adjusting that you can do. So if you don't want to climb roofs, no problem. There's tons of other adjusting that will allow you to stay on the ground and operate this business full-time, making your own hours and making over $100,000 a year. The third most important step for success is getting noticed. Guys, you can have all the training in the world, all the expertise, all the certifications, all the licenses, but if no one knows you're available, you're wasting your time. The phone is not going to ring if no one knows you're an adjuster. So, this is a business, guys. Think about if a restaurant went into business, but they never advertised, they never put their sign on the street, they never put radio ads, they never went door to door putting brochures, they just never told anybody about them being in business. Well, they might be the best restaurant in the whole world, but they're going to sit empty. So think of that when you're thinking about making your business or you out into the world noticed. Think about it. You've got to tell people. So you call up all these different insurance adjusting firms. These are the people that hire you in order to work for the insurance company. Well, they have something called a roster. These are things that you can get listed on after you fill out all the paperwork that says you're available for work. Now, hundreds and hundreds of firms out there are available to put your name on, and you can do as many as you want. Somebody's going to call you once you're on that roster after you've told them you're trained, you're licensed, and you're ready to work. These guys love people who keep bugging them and telling them they're ready to work. The worst thing you could do, though, is tell them you're ready to work but have nothing done. No licensing, no certifications, no training. Hey, they're not going to hire you. I have seen brand new adjusters get hired with no experience because they had all their training done. They love people who are eager, willing to do the things that are necessary to get hired, and willing to stand out amongst the rest. You have to remember that this business is very competitive. We handle a very large area when we work daily claims. I handle a 2-hour radius from my home base. That means there's no need for another adjuster unless we're really super busy. There's no need for another adjuster in this area because I'm here and I'm willing to handle it. I'm willing to load up my schedule with 5 or 6 claims a day. So until there's a need where there's more than 5 or 6 claims a day with one carrier, then there's no need for another adjuster. So think of that. That's hard competition for somebody breaking in. But for a catastrophe event, there are hundreds of adjusters needed in the same area all at one time. You, as an experienced adjuster with training, certification, and all your licenses, can get deployed right away. But if you're not trained and don't have all those things, you're not going to get deployed, guys. So just remember that. Make sure that you call the places that you have got onto their rosters maybe a month later, a couple weeks later after you've submitted your paperwork, and just remind them that you are still available. There's nothing better than just a persistent person who's saying, hey, I'm ready to work. I just wanted to let you know. I got my paperwork in. You said everything was good. I'm waiting for work. Let me know. They like people like that. Now also, you might want to think about attending a conference. Every year, at the beginning, first three or 4 months of the year, there are adjuster conferences from a lot of firms. And a lot of times the big firms are throwing these big shindigs at a hotel and restaurant, conference centers, wherever, golf resorts. A great place for you to network with other adjusters, not to mention a lot of the vendors that you're going to be also working with. But first and foremost, you're going to be talking to the personnel department right there at the conference and giving a face to that person so that they'll know, oh, he's a presentable looking person. I think we'll hire him. So I think it's a great idea to put a face to a name at these conferences, but I don't think I would spend a ton of money doing them because they can really run you dry after a while. So just to wrap everything up, I just want to make sure you guys know that you're going to have to stand out as an adjuster. Make sure that you are making yourself stand out. The only way you're going to be able to do that is getting licensed, getting trained, and making yourself known to people out there. There's a lot of competition, so make yourself stand out. And also, make yourself the best. Never stop learning. Always do the best job that you can when you work for somebody. It will pay off in the long run. This is Daniel, the adjuster, helping you become the adjuster on your way to success. Bye-bye.